discovering this alternate universe that has like an effect on her current universe, and it's all run by these alien cat dimension jumping cats.
It is frustrating that Moon Shadow Elves Naruto run everywhere they go. Is this something that doesn't have to happen ever? Welcome to Evening with an Artist, a podcast created by students for students, where animation junkies Jordyn and Rich geek out about animation, interview industry professionals, and ask the questions you want answered. I'm Rich, and I love cartoons.
I'm Jordyn, and I make cartoons. Hey everyone, it's Jordyn and Rich, and we're here doing another Chit Chat episode on Evening with an Artist.
That's right.
How are you, Rich?
That's what we're doing. I'm fantastic.
You're fantastic. That's
Feel
awesome.
healthy as a horse. $1 million bucks. How are you doing, Jordyn?
I'm pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's new?
What's new in animation, you mean? So, did you hear? The new
Probably
Avatar?
not.
Probably not. No, you probably did. You're obsessed with Avatar. The new Avatar film that's coming out is going to potentially be made by Flying Bark Productions.
Out of Australia?
Yeah.
That's exciting stuff, isn't it?
So that'll be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I know nothing about them or anything that they've done ever, but I'm sure they're going to be a good choice.
Yeah, I looked into them a little bit, and I was like, okay.
Nothing you recognized?
I hadn't heard of them before, but
yeah.
I mean, that's not really all that unheard of for me to not have heard about things.
That's true. There's a lot of studios out there.
There's a lot of stuff out there.
It's a big world full of cartoons.
Yeah. But it's cool. They were kind of talking a little about how they were going to animate it.
Now, do you know, is this like the next new Avatar movie, or is this like the first new Avatar movie and they just like haven't started working on it yet? Because they have a lot of projects in their pipeline already, I think, but I don't think any of them are started. So this might be the first movie that they're like gone through the story phase and they're going into production.
That's a good question.
It was too loaded of a question. I mean, admittedly,
from the very short interview that I saw, when they were talking to someone from production at Flying Bark, it sounds like they must be getting close to the production phase, which is where animation happens. So I'm assuming that the characters are developed and the story is developed and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know. We don't have any inkling of what the story is, I'm assuming, right? Like, we haven't heard anything.
Not necessarily true.
Like, how is it following the books?
The first feature animation film that Avatar Studios should be coming out with will be, I believe it's like officially released as being like after the whole Ozai Sozin's Comet thing. So like Aang and his friends, I don't know if it's going to be years later, if it's going to pick right up. I think a lot of the like comic books were set after that and are considered canon, so I think it's going to be after the comic books. So maybe a few years later, all the kids are older. I don't know.
Yeah.
We know from Korra that Aang and Katara get married at some point and have kids. Probably would be before that. Like,
are they going to be like adults then?
Maybe.
Probably, maybe.
Like, not adolescents, but young adults.
Yeah. Like, yeah. What age group were they kind of, like, in the canon? Because they were, like...
I think Aang was 11.
Like, young...
Yeah,
like,
I think the kids were,
show.
like, 14, 15, and Aang was 11.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You married an older woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're the Avatar, you marry whoever you want.
Yeah. Well, that would be really cool. Either way, I'm excited. I'm excited to see Appa. Really excited about that.
I mean, he doesn't do anything, so yeah.
He's fluffy and adorable.
He is fluffy and adorable.
Yeah, and like, do you remember that episode from the show when like it's really sad and he's getting like tortured and stuff? That was like, like tore me apart.
Yeah.
Deep in my soul. I can't handle stuff like that. But yeah, so when the like very short interview that I watched, they were kind of talking about how they're looking into that hybrid style of animation where it's 2D based with a lot of CG enhancement. I know that's becoming more popular, especially since like Klaus, I feel like was a really big marker.
But
for that.
Klaus was still 2D animated,
yes.
right? like the characters weren't 3D models like they
No.
are in Arcane with paint over them.
Correct.
Yeah.
So Arcane was like 3D models, and they
2D
used the paint to
aesthetic.
make it look 2D.
And this is
and
2D
Klaus
with a
was
3D
2D.
aesthetic.
Exactly.
It's so hard.
Which is crazy, and to be honest, they're both like they both looked amazing. Like if you're
Yeah, I can't say one of those things is better than the other because
I know.
those two are masterpieces. Like I
How
can't
would
find
you
any flaws
even-
with either
I
if I
know.
tried, which I never would.
And Klaus had a very, I will say, like, if we're talking like straight up, what the 2D to 3D, like what it did for the actual animation, Klaus might probably be a little more.
Elevated?
Yeah, because like a lot of it was like hand drawn.
Yeah.
Like it was 2D
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
hand drawn, like
Shading and stuff,
traditional
like-
stuff. Like they did
Yeah.
a lot of hand drawing right within it rather than only using the rigs.
But definitely like that application of 3D aesthetics onto 2D hand-drawn animation will elevate that medium more than like putting a 2D aesthetic on a 3D model would elevate that. Like it makes it look beautiful and painterly, but it doesn't make it look like it's being, brought out. Like the 3D on 2D makes it look like everything's being brought out more towards you, whereas the painting kind of does the opposite and makes it look more like a 2D cartoon.
That's true.
Which is the goal, and it worked fantastically. But it's, as beautiful as it is, it doesn't seem like it's elevating that
No,
form,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I don't know if people are going to be listening to this and like gritting their teeth. Like, who is this guy?
and I mean again, it's always we talk about our opinions unless we say otherwise. It's so hard. It would be so hard to compare like two films like Klaus and
Arcane.
Like that's
Yeah.
like just crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But like if we're talking Avatar, it was a 2D animated show, and it looked awesome. If they did something more Klausy style, just because Klaus was very like full and stuff, and I mean I know that Avatar is going to have a lot of action sequences and stuff.
And a lot of effects.
Yeah.
So, Jordyn, would you rather see the new Avatar film go more towards Klaus or more towards Arcane in aesthetic
Probably Klaus.
with Arcane effects?
I mean, the Arcane effects were literally 2D effects.
Yeah.
Basically. Or they were definitely made to look that way. This is Flying Bark Productions, so I don't know if they've really made anything quite like Klaus was made.
And we
So
don't know
it's-
their stuff, so we don't know what their
We don't,
aesthetic
like,
is.
yeah, we'll have to, like, do a little deeper dive into that. And, like, once we start learning more about Avatar and the studio and stuff, we'll definitely talk about it more. Expecting Klaus, kind of like amazingness, might be expecting a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's Spa Studio, right? Klaus was Spa Studio?
Spa.
And again, we're going to do a whole thing on Klaus at some point. Aside from that, it was just...
Fact we don't know.
They just made it look more beautiful, and it was almost like you were like, is this 2D? Is this 3D? Like, what is this? But it still had that quality that only 2D so far can really have, unless you're talking about like an actual Disney production. But even in Disney, it's just different. It just moves differently. And like Klaus had literal drawn animation, and I don't really expect a studio, like another studio, being able to have the kind of budget to do that necessarily. Maybe they would, and maybe they could, but I don't know. I don't think that they're going to do something like Arcane, gritty painted on, like rough texturing, which was really, really cool. But I think it was also very reminiscent of kind of just like the theme of the show in general. That like really moody theme. Yeah. That was kind of going through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And Avatar will probably be a little... It's usually pretty cheerful. For the most part.
I would agree. I'd rather see Klaus aesthetic on Avatar over the Arcane.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't matter as long as the action sequences are great.
Yeah.
Like, that's what Avatar's all about.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can speak to it. They literally took reference from actual, like, fight scenes and stuff like that. And, yeah. They really followed a lot into, like, what actual martial arts would look like.
Yeah. They had, like, a martial arts expert, like, going through all the moves of all the different martial arts, working with them to, like, select ones that, like, have the feel of being based in that kind of element, which is super cool.
Did they do any
Yeah.
rotoscoping for some of those shots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ton of it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were rotoscoping. If they may have been doing mocap stuff, but that's basically, I don't know, two different words for the same thing at this point, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm sure they at least, if they would have had the technology to just, to watch the shots, to draw over the shots, to at least get the base feel.
Yeah.
For sure. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Either way,
really
I'm
cool
excited.
Stuff. Avatar.
It's going to be great.
Whatever happens, there's a lot of Avatar stuff in the wings, and it's all going to be awesome.
And with the way effects are these days, whatever they do, as long as the effects are good, because they're all wielding elements and stuff, so they got to do a good job there.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't push too much OP characters.
Yeah.
Because there's a few through Avatar that are just kind of meh.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do anything? Oh, concussive man, you can just make people explode with your forehead.
Oh, right.
Laser beams, that's...
I did not like that.
That's cool for you.
Yeah.
No explanation why. I think they might have explained why way later, but I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Anyways, moving along.
I did see that Encanto and Maya and the Three, they both won Best Directing honors. And Encanto also won 3 other awards in addition to Best Director. The cool thing about this is basically it was at the Imogen Awards, which I don't know a lot about it, but I've
never heard of it.
Yeah, but I do know what's cool about it is that they won these against live action film.
Yeah.
So these are animated films getting judged alongside live action, and they won.
Yeah.
Which is pretty freaking cool.
That's really cool.
So that's awesome.
Hats off to them. Even though if you've heard our Maya and the Three episode.
Yeah. We weren't in love with Maya and the Three, but that's okay. We always said that
there were
it
great
looked really
things
good.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not that, that's what happens in a review, right? Nothing is perfect. One day we'll talk about Encanto, and I'll tell you, I do have problems with some of it, even though I love Encanto.
Yeah.
Love it.
This is interesting. I don't know what you'd have problems with. Okay, cool. Something for the future.
We'll get into it.
Something for the future.
Mostly story stuff, but yeah. Disney is also releasing a couple new 2D animated series, which I thought that was cool. So one of them is called The Doomies, and the other is Dragon Striker. Dragon Striker
They're both just cartoons.
Yeah. 2D animated cartoon series. Dragon Striker looks kind of sort of Pokemon, not Pokemon-esque, I don't know, they all have
kind of anime-ish.
I think it's almost
Western anime.
They all get in these kind of almost mech things, and then they're fighting, and there's Dragon Striker games, and everyone watches the games.
Okay. So they're mech suit tournament fighters.
Yeah, kind of like that. Except they're not in insane giant mech things, but they get all suited up with cool shit, and they
small mech suits.
And they do stuff. Yeah. I don't know.
Right. Power armored tournament.
I saw one
fighting.
trailer, but for I don't know, it looked kind of cool.
Okay.
I was this is maybe a series I would actually deign to watch.
Yeah. Interesting.
All the random stuff that Disney makes. So that's kind of cool. And then Apple TV released this movie called Luck. Did you see it?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
I've seen the ads. I've been aware of Luck for a while.
Okay. I would have no idea it was
Simon Pegg.
Who's Simon Pegg?
You mean as an actor or in the movie?
As an actor.
Shaun of the Dead. Scotty from Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that guy is the black cat.
Okay.
So that's cool. He's cool.
Yeah.
He's a Scottish cat, and in Scotland, black cats are lucky. So that's the weird twist where the girl finds this lucky penny, but she's super unlucky, and she ends up palling around with this lucky black cat, but she's super unlucky, but the cat's lucky and the penny's lucky. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think the whole point is that she's got to figure out how to make her own luck and stop being a whiny baby for being so unlucky. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just...
It looks fine.
I saw the trailer, but it's so funny because she's just oh, she's this really unlucky girl. Cool. Then she finds this lucky penny, and now she's lucky. Cool. Then
no, she's still not lucky.
No, she is, because when she has the penny, everything's going well for her.
Okay. Sure.
No, yeah, this happened in the trailer, I swear.
All right.
I see her being that, I didn't interpret it this way, look, but I promise you. And then, there's this cat, and it's the cat's penny, and then the cat goes into this vortex, and then she follows it, and it's this cat spy world where... And again, sorry, I'm not spoiling anything.
I think it's like the land of luck where they go.
Okay, the land of luck, but it's like this weird business place where there's like lucky business people.
And they're all cats.
And they're all cats or something. And she goes into this world and she's like discovering this alternate universe that has like an effect on her current universe. And it's all run by these cats. Alien cat dimension jumping cats. That's where I was like, okay, this is... it's lost me. Because when I saw this, I was like, oh, okay.
Look, if the MCU can jump through time and create alternate universes, at the snap of their fingers, or literally erase half the universe, I guess, at the snap of their fingers, like, whatever they want to do, they just do it. Like, I don't care if Apple TV is it not DreamWorks? I thought it was DreamWorks, this luck thing.
No, it's Apple TV.
That's so weird.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know. They can get as meta as they want with weird dimension stuff.
Like, it would be fine. It's just the way, when I was watching the trailer and the way that the story was playing out, I was like, this is dumb. You can make anything, and if you make it believable and like that it works well, then you're like, cool, this is awesome, and it makes total sense, and it's great. But if you make something weird and then you have this really awkward transition into it where it doesn't get explained well, or you don't find a way to make it make sense, then it's like weird. If someone was, oh yeah, there's this powerful ring and it like has the power to like change the path of Middle Earth, and it's like owned by this fiery dude and he's up in his mountain, and there's these little hobbit boys that have to take the ring and no one else can take it because only hobbits are pure of heart, people would be like, that doesn't make any sense.
You
that
sound
sounds
like
stupid.
an idiot.
But, like, when you put it all together and you make the whole story and the world and everything is cohesive and everything is good, then you're like, oh, it's Lord of the Rings, it's awesome.
I mean, I feel like you sold it weird. You could be like, hey, there's this thing, and it's like a metaphor for, like, Nazis or something. And people would be like, oh, cool, yeah, wizards and shit. Oh, I don't see that.
No.
Anyways.
Anywho. So, maybe it would be good. Like, I probably won't see it, so that's fine. But I just thought that part was weird in the trailer, and then I just thought it was funny. All the characters had, like, they had a very, very Disney-esque heads and, like, faces. And they're all, like, just a little too big. And they had that Disney, like, Elsa face.
Okay.
And they all have that,
and they
like,
all had
weird...
that, like, too skinny body.
And they just look kind of lifeless. Because, like, there's no, like, sense to their personality or why they look like that. 3D productions, sometimes they just don't hit the mark. And they pick, like, an aesthetic. This is what people are going to look like. But then nobody really has any individuality. And then they all just kind of blend into one. Like, there's nothing special about any of them. And, like, you can say, like, oh, well, they're following that aesthetic. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like Minions. All the Minions kind of look the same. Except some of them have two eyes and some of them have one. It's kind of like that. Like, maybe on their own, they're appealing. Ones. And, like...
I mean, there's, like, the three main characters that are, like, different from the rest. I couldn't pick them out.
No.
But kids can.
I wouldn't be like, that's Kevin or whatever. I'm sure kids
there's
kids
definitely a Kevin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be able to pick them out.
Yeah.
But, like, I know kids who watch the movies over and over, like, they'd know for sure.
Yeah.
You could get them a Minion toy and they'd be like, I don't want this one.
Yeah.
Like, he's the stupid one. I'm not even going to
But in the point, too, Minions were kind of supposed to be like that. They were supposed to, like, all look the same.
Yeah.
That was kind of the point. And then you got Gru, and you got the kids... And, like, they all look
all
drastically
human characters
different.
Look different.
However, they still look like they all fit together in the same cohesive universe.
Yes.
Right? So, like, when, like, Disney or anything, like, they make, like, something like that, they all look like they're fitting.
Are you saying that the
Disney?
Luck characters look different enough from each other that they look like they don't belong in the same world?
They look so similar that they all look like they belong in the same world, but there's no defining features between them that give them any personality.
Right.
And I'm just getting this
from
this
trailer
again, so like
this one trailer that you saw.
Don't at me, guys. This is my first impression of a trailer.
It's cool.
That's what a lot of our chit chats.
This is a safe space for now.
And, if you guys tell me it's good, I'll watch it and I'll absorb it and I'll go in with an open mind. But I just find that funny because this movie was like very, very well funded. Like,
was it?
Millions and millions of dollars.
Jeez.
To make this movie, and I'm
I feel
just
like there's no hype on this movie.
There's no hype. I didn't know it was coming. I just saw a random trailer because I was looking into stuff. Like, it wasn't on my radar. And then, it did that, and I was looking at the trailer, I'm like, what? No, they kind of look like they all look kind of boring and gross and, like, the same, and I don't know. You have to make an appealing character design, and they all have to kind of look like they're all part of the same universe, but they all have to have very unique personality and physical traits
and
to
features
like,
to.
Yeah, because that's really what, like, that's realistic.
It's
Everyone's diverse and everything, and that's what's interesting.
It's very true.
I don't know. So,
Anyways, enough about
that.
luck. We've been at least 10 minutes talking about this thing based on a 1-minute trailer.
Yeah.
Until it comes out, it deserves no more of our time. That's my opinion.
Fair.
There's new stuff coming out on Netflix. I don't know what it is. There's a new movie, David and something, like a CGI movie. I'm assuming it's about David and Goliath.
Oh.
It looks very set in biblically times.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think I even watched the trailer.
Okay.
But I just put it on my list. I was like, cool, I'll see that later. The 500 other things that I'll never watch. New season of Cuphead's coming out in a couple weeks. New season of Dragon Prince just came out, which I have to start watching.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be exciting. I like these new seasons of things that already exist.
Yeah.
Because, it's always nice to see that Netflix hasn't dropped a show.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
That's good. Maybe it's the last season of everything. Who knows? Yeah. Is there anything else? I watched something today.
Okay.
On YouTube.
What you been watching?
By chance. Wasn't today. It was last night. It was a 20-minute video. Basically about how Emperor's New Groove tanked Disney. It wasn't good enough to save Disney, and it cost them insane amounts of money, most of which went down the toilet. It was very interesting. Apparently there's this whole thing took so long, and they had to fire people and bring in new people, and they changed the story completely after investing millions of dollars into it. Yeah, there's just so many things went wrong. There's a documentary about it called Sweatbox that premiered at TIFF a decade ago or so, and Disney had it pushed away.
Really?
Yeah,
They
after it came
it?
out, yeah, Disney buried it. They were no one gets to see this, so now it's only pirated, I guess. But just about what a mess it was, and at some point they had a couple they got a new director on, I believe. They weren't quite sure where that director was going, and they didn't like where that director was going, so they kind of got a second team, and then put these two teams against each other to pitch them a good story fix for this movie. They basically had two teams, and they're you've got a couple weeks or whatever, give us your story, and we'll see which one we're going to use to save this movie that's just going off the rails.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they had Cutthroat, and everyone who should have been working together was kind of split up into separate factions and
Dang.
working against
what
each
was
other, trying
so
to
if they were
outdo each other.
Here's your two teams, here's your assignment. If whoever didn't get picked, were they fired or something, or not on the project anymore?
No, you just all have to work on whichever one the studio heads chose.
Okay.
Right? They would be we want this, make this, and then everyone makes that.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just really weird. There was.
I had no idea.
I wish I remembered more about this. I was folding laundry, so I wasn't paying 100% attention.
Well, maybe you have to
so into my laundry.
Because The Emperor's New Groove would be a great movie review thing. We could kind of segue into that whole thing. Because that's kind of cool. I didn't even know that, because I genuinely love The Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah.
I love that movie. So.
Well, it's one of those things where I think it ended up testing really well because it was really goofy.
Yeah.
But the original movie wasn't supposed to be that way at all. And they had Sting lined up to do all these songs, and then Sting pulled himself out of the project because it just got so goofy, and what's the main character? Let's see, it's been a long time since I've seen this movie.
There's the Emperor.
Is it Cusco?
Cusco,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So I guess Cusco's trying to build an amusement park.
Yes.
And at the end,
he wants to build it on the on a village and demolish the village, and he wants to put it literally on where this guy's house is.
Yeah.
At the top of a hill.
Yeah. So then in the end, he decides he's not going to put it there. He's going to put it over here instead. And Sting was that's not what I thought this movie was about. I thought it was about not building giant amusement parks in the end. He would learn not, to decide to, keep the landscape. And he's this doesn't line up with my beliefs, so I'm leaving the project.
Oh my gosh.
So they did end up using, two of his songs, the end credit song, and then the song that Tom Jones sings at some point during the...
Right.
I don't know. But yeah, it's weird,
That's so crazy.
They were going in that vein of, we need to have, top, pop rock stars doing these soundtracks for these movies ever since Lion King, right? Like,
yeah.
And the whole thing fell apart. And like me, so I think like the director that they had in the beginning was the same guy that had come on board and like before like Little Mermaid. So like he was the guy who was on board when Little Mermaid came out, when Lion King came out. And then in this project, I don't know, for whatever reason they weren't happy. And, you know, I think he was kind of like, this is what we're doing. And they were like, we don't like that. And he was like, fine, goodbye. And so he went over to DreamWorks, decided to make Road El Dorado, also set in like Incan background, and like try to push that out first.
Oh my gosh.
Like, is crazy.
You're blowing my mind right now.
It's crazy, the stuff that was happening back then. But yeah, like, wow, it's really cool.
Oh my god, we gotta do so many.
Anyways.
That's amazing. That's so interesting, because
so
like,
weird.
I love both of those films, but like, I can even see around that time, I feel like those are the ones when I was younger, I would maybe kind of get them confused in my mind. Like, I didn't see either of them. Those two movies are like the fewer ones that like I didn't own on VHS when I was a kid. But I've seen them and I know them. I actually love The Emperor's New Groove more as an adult than I think I did as a kid.
Yeah.
I always liked Road El Dorado, but that was something I had to literally like rent a Blockbuster or something to see it. That's super interesting. I didn't know about all of that crazy controversy stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to deep dive into that at some point.
And then like the team of writers they got at the end to like fix Emperor's New Groove was like a bunch of like comedy writers off, I guess, different comedy series, I'm not sure, but just like big time goofball comedy writers.
Okay.
So they just got like a room full of these guys, and these guys were basically just like coming up with gags the whole time, which is like the opposite of like Disney's thing was always like story based, and there's a few gags, whereas, you know, everybody else, like, you know, Warner Brothers or like Fleischer, Hanna-Barbera, it's all about like sight gags and stuff, right? Like, so these guys were just coming up with tons of gags, and then they'd like send this stuff in, and the guys would be like, what are you doing? What are we paying you guys to do? But then they like put it all together, and they're like, oh my god, they like it tested so well. They were like, this is amazing. And then they added Kronk as like purely comic relief.
Yeah.
I
love Kronk.
I guess he saved the movie in the end. Like, I don't know.
Well, and like Kronk got a groove after too. He got a movie.
Yeah.
Got his own movie. His own little spinoff.
Never saw it.
I saw it as an adult a few years ago.
And loved it?
I actually kind of liked it. Yeah, like it's a sequel, so you gotta take it with a grain of salt and all of that.
Yeah.
The sequels always get like way less, I mean, depending on the sequel, but back then, usually they got a lot less, they got less funding, and you can just tell.
Yeah.
Kind of like the 2 or 3 Aladdin spinoffs, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Especially the second one. Yeah. But it's cute. I don't know. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So you've been watching Cuphead, and you said you were watching...
Yeah. The new season of Cuphead is coming out, and I haven't watched the last season at all, so I'm just like pouring through it. I think I got 3 episodes left. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't love the first season of Cuphead. Mm-hmm. Like, the animation is beautiful. I love watching the animation, but I wasn't getting into the characters. I thought they were a little too screwball-y and over the top. And now I'm like, I'm good with it. Like, at this point, I'm like, I get them, I get their thing, they're cool, and like, I don't know what I was expecting in the first place, because they should be that screwball-y. Yeah. So, like, it makes sense. Yeah. And I like how sometimes they do things that are like totally non-canon, and then just, you know, I like how they have it's pretty like serial based cartoon, but with like an episodic nature, and then sometimes they'll just all end up smashed into little bits, and you'll be like, oh yeah, they're dead, and then the next day they're fine, and like, you know, yeah, next episode, like, none of that stuff really ever happened. No, they're very nice. Like, because there's like an overarching story, but they also are more like episode by episode hijinks. Hijinks. Yeah. Things don't have to happen that actually affect the overarching story. Yeah. Kind of a thing. And we watched a bit, but I don't think I finished it, because I did love how it looked. Like, it's really nice. So yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and I like the second season. I'm into it. Good. Like, it's good stories. Okay. That's good. It's a lot of fun. I'll definitely watch it. I only played like 4 levels of the game because like I get enough frustration at work that I don't need to do that to myself every night. But but a lot of the like, you know, villains still like come back through, right? Like they've they've only cycled through a small handful, so like they keep bringing, new bosses in, and that's cool.
You gotta play Cuphead like with your partner or whatever. It's so much better 2-player because you can kind of just laugh about it together while you're dying a zillion times, and it is slightly easier with 2 people.
Maybe. I don't know how much she's gonna help me, but we'll see. We'll see.
I don't know.
So I brought it up a few times, and she's like, I don't think you want to play that game with me. Like, I've seen what that game looks like.
I mean, like, that's the thing is, like, I'm not good at it either, so usually whoever I played with was a lot better, and sometimes it sucks being the person that, like, is pulling the group down. But, I don't know, if it helps you get a little further.
Yeah.
Because
as long as everybody's a good sport about it and isn't like, I can't win with you.
Yeah, no, exactly. You have to go in with just be like, oh, this will be fun. Yeah. This is for fun. Not like, I'm trying to 100% the game.
Like playing Overcooked.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
Overcooked is serious business.
But yeah, so Cuphead, that's cool.
Yeah.
Season 3 will be cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
The second game is supposed to be coming out soon,
Studio.
I think, at some point.
Like, I know it's in the works. A lot of DLC.
Like they just did. No, there's been one DLC.
I thought there was 2.
I think there's only one.
Oh, okay.
It like just came out recently, but I haven't beat the game, so I'm not getting.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like I haven't beat it, so I'm like, well, I don't want to invest in the DLC yet.
Yeah.
I'll wait, but okay, that's exciting though. The game is gorgeous.
Dragon Prince also new, and I'm rewatching it with my partner to make her watch it.
Nice.
And she's loving it so far, so that's great. Because how can you not? Because
I know it's great.
Yeah, the jokes are all on point. The characters are all rich, and
I'm definitely gonna have to start again. I'm gonna start again from the beginning, so I'm like geared up for season 4.
Yeah,
that's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we're watching through, I'm like, oh, I remember what happens with this situation, and like I remember little things. And my girlfriend's like, oh, so you remember like the overall story, but you don't remember the little details. And I'm like, no, I remember a few little details, but I have no idea what the overall story is. Like, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how all these little details come together that I know.
Right.
To build the story and push the story.
Oh.
Yeah. I will come back to, like, the animation style I thought was really weird. Okay. And I couldn't get behind it at first. Like, everyone was raving about this show, and, like, the story got me into the show. Mm-hmm. The animation I found grating and choppy. Like, it looks like it's animating at a low frame rate where, like, things kind of stick or hop.
Yeah, I think I remember this.
I was very frustrated with that at first because I figured Netflix could afford to do better.
Yeah.
But I got over it pretty quick.
Okay.
I don't notice it anymore. It is frustrating that Moonshadow Elves Naruto run everywhere they go. This is something that doesn't have to happen ever. But, it's...
Yeah.
It's fine. It sparked some good conversation, and then my girlfriend trying to, like, Naruto run through the parking lots at the grocery store. So
trying to figure out if that's how people should actually run.
Yeah.
Like, people who make anime, they've known the secret this whole time that you do genuinely run faster if you, like, lean forward and put your arms, forward. Like, behind your back and just, like, sprint.
Yeah.
That's the way to run fast.
They've all practiced it many times.
Yeah. They cracked the code, and we're just slow on the uptake.
Yeah. And your feet have to move faster than the weight of your entire body pulling you forward.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's ridiculous. Anyways, anime's cool. Everybody loves it.
Well, speaking of...
These days, everybody loves it.
Speaking of, poor animation and stuff like that. So, I've been watching Big Mouth lately, which is, like,
Can't even do it.
Ridiculous show. I know. When I first started watching it, I totally get why people don't like it. And all of those feelings are 100% valid. And there's a part of me that hates myself because I keep watching it.
It's like a guilty pleasure for you?
It's like a guilty pleasure for me.
I know a lot of people in the same boat.
Yeah. It is. And again, I'm like, for a second, we're going to put like the whole story aside for just a second. So, animation. It's terrible.
Strictly from an animation perspective,
it's terrible. Okay? Like, the character designs are awful. I don't think anybody looks good.
Not
they all
physically
have giant
appealing in
heads.
any way.
like the really giant heads. It's unappealing. I think that's somewhat purposeful.
And their big sticky Yodi lips.
Yeah, they're big fish lips and like whatever, and it's not good. The characters, it's that adult animation thing, so like a lot of standing still with just like their mouth moving. They barely emote like at all. Like all of their eyebrows are like stuck most of the time in the same spot.
Yeah.
Their eyes are very like dead. And like especially like one of the main girl characters, Jessie, her eyes are just like, even when she's happy, her eyes are just so
never change.
Dead because
circles.
And like because especially because like the circles come like out of her head on the one side, and it just makes them look really round and dead, and I don't know, it's weird. And like I get that she's like the girl that's depressed a lot and stuff, but like she's I don't know, it just
makes her look like a robot.
Have any brain? Yeah, she's very robotic, and they all kind of are. So yeah, it's not, but that's the aesthetic, and like I've watched it enough where like it doesn't kill me anymore, but like I don't like that. Why do I watch it then? I can't even really explain it that well.
It's for the story.
It's for the stupid story.
The rich story.
Yeah.
The deep connections.
Yeah.
That these children have, like coming in their pants every day or whatever they're doing.
Here's what I like about it, okay? And I think a lot of it too far, that are like too crass for me. I'm not normally a person that likes really crass, like adult stuff, like really that like pushing the edge stuff. However, what I like about the show is it's a sex positive show that talks about all of these things, and it doesn't just talk about like sex. It talks about like sexual health. It talks about like vaginas and periods and like all that kind of stuff. Like, so it's things
like sub. What am I trying to say? It's like secretly like educational.
Yeah. It literally is, because, and when they bring stuff up, they talk about inequality, like gender inequality and like all of this stuff. And when they have people on, like, they talk about pansexuality and they talk about like transitioning and they talk about this stuff. And even though like there's jokes behind it, I think it's still like, if you actually watch it, it always stands on the right side of like opinions for a lot of these issues. It's just sort of hidden under this
like
mass...
at least they're talking about it.
Yeah, and it's hidden under this like the really crass, gross adult joke stuff, and like a lot of people won't like that. And again, that's totally cool. But
so you're saying this is secretly a smart show?
It's secretly a very sex positive show that we just don't see almost ever.
Maybe
like,
one day I can like watch it with my eyes closed and I'll enjoy it. But like I also hate Nick Kroll's voice so much.
I know. I know.
And like. Here's the thing. As an aside from the animation topic, I hate Nick Kroll.
Yeah.
And it's not fair because Nick Kroll is great. Like I watched his last stand-up on Netflix. I think it was on Netflix. I don't know what it was. His last stand-up special. I loved it.
Oh, okay.
It was great. I was like, I love Nick Kroll. But when I hear him in anything, doing a voice in anything, I'm like, oh, please stop. Like, I can't. And I don't know why. It's not fair. But it's just, I've got this... You know, I'm like conditioned to like not liking Nick Kroll. And
that's fine. And he does have I don't like his voice either. The voice, I mean, the whole show was just very like abrasive.
Yeah.
You know, it's in the voice acting, it's in the things that they say, the story, like it's a lot. So like, and it's totally fair for if you don't like it. I don't know. So a lot of the time I'm watching it and I'm like, why am I watching this? But it's just, there is this sort of like background thing that I just enjoy, which is just the like overall, like just no shame, sex positive, like messaging in it that is just interlooped in there. Like it's literally going to be, if actual like teenagers, tweens, kids watch this show, which like maybe they should or shouldn't, I don't know. But
parents, have your kids sit down.
But like, you know, like if they are seeing this show, which like it's probably happening because it's on Netflix and it's animated, they're gonna see a lot of stuff that's probably gonna teach them things that they aren't getting taught that they should know.
Yeah.
There's literal like stuff about sex education in there.
Have you watched Human Resources?
I did watch Human Resources.
Is it the same?
So it's the same in the sense that it's like the same, except it's on the other side. So
it's all the monsters.
It's the monster world instead, and like there's overlap into the human world, but it's more focused in the monster world, with like occasional overlap in the human world.
And is it smart?
I don't like it as much.
Okay.
Because I like the funny interaction of, like, kids having these hormone monsters. Like, I don't know, it's just funny. And it's just, like, I don't know, there's just... They all have, like, weird relationship things going on, and, like, it's... Yeah, I don't know, it's not as good.
Right.
Have I watched it, though? Yeah.
Oh, that's fair.
Which is fine.
As long as you know what you're doing is wrong.
Yes.
And you properly flagellate yourself after with, like, a belt.
Feel bad about it. Exactly. The other thing we were watching, my partner and I together, we've been watching Cyberpunk 2077.
And you still love it.
It's good. It looks cool. And, like, it's, like, kind of brutal. It's gory, and...
I have heard other people talk about how great it is also, and I have yet to watch it.
I think you would like it.
Probably.
Yeah. So, it's an adult animation. It's very retro style, and it's very gory. It's kind of like, what was that superhero really gory show?
Invincible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Except it's not the story.
Not as pretty as Invincible.
But it's just, like... It's cool, though. It's very retro style in the animation and, like, the design of everything. I don't know. It's nice.
And there's a lot of blood and cool
there's a lot of
cyber
blood.
enhancements.
And it's also just, it's, like, it's set in the future. It's a very rough city. And it's just, like, these cyberpunk guys. And they all, like, take pieces of their body off and they just add more mechanical stuff on and on. And it's these, like, gangs stuff. Like, it's... I don't know, it's intense, but like, it's cool.
I'm sure probably, I didn't play the game, but I'm sure it takes like pretty heavily from the game. And,
probably.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I haven't played the game either.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. It looks pretty cool. Every once in a while I'm like, oh, that was really good. Like, it looks really good. Like, so...
So you're watching it and it's really good.
And I'm liking it. And again, I don't always like that style. Like when... You know, there's a lot of stills.
It's like kind of anime
moving.
style, right? Like,
yeah. Because it cuts corners. So it's got sort of that, like, really retro superhero show kind of thing where, like, there's a lot less movement. And, like Batman comes into frame and then it's just his mouth moving for a long time. And then maybe his whole body, like, shifts to the right for a second and then he's talking some more and then he, like, points. Kind of like that. But then there's also some cool action scenes, and then, like, once in a while there's a really gory thing that happens, and they zoom right in, and, like, there's, like, stuff dripping and bits going, and, yeah, it's a little forewarning. If you don't like that, don't watch it.
I mean, who doesn't like that?
But if you're fine with it, it's pretty cool.
What about games? What have you been playing?
I've been playing Stardew Valley. So
again?
Much. Oh, yeah, right back into it. It's so good. I love Stardew Valley so much. It's so good. I feel like if you got into it, you would just, like, you would relax. It's such a relaxing game.
I mean, maybe, but relaxing games make me sleepy. So
yeah.
It's kind of tricky.
But, like,
I've been playing The Last of Us.
Oh, yeah?
And sometimes I pick it up, and it's, like, super intense and, like, quiet, and I'm like, I'm falling asleep. If a zombie comes out, I'm dead because I'm falling asleep right now. So I'm just going to put this away and, like, go to bed. Because,
like, Stardew Valley is relaxing, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, I got to stay up and do one more day because I just got all this money and I really want that, like, farm upgrade and I really want that. I got to go find that special route in the forest because then once I take to the community center, that bundle is done and then I got a bundle surprise. Like, it sounds ridiculous when you say it.
But it's always goals, right? There's always little goals that you can reach easily.
Always something to do every single day. You're always just like, oh, I'm just going to play just one more day. Just one more day. And you're just going to... Which I think a day is like... I don't know what it is in real time.
20 minutes or something?
20 or 30 minutes or something like that. But yeah, it's great. And I have a thing where sometimes I'll get into these kind of games and I have a couple saves that have gone pretty far into the game. But I also, after I've dropped a game for a while, I like restarting. So I've just restarted. And
So you've never finished the game?
Not like... So I've finished it, but there's a lot of, like, after...
You finished the story.
I finished the story.
You haven't finished everything.
Yeah. It's hard, though, because, like, I finished it, but I've never, like, unlocked all the cutscenes of all the characters because you have to, like, make friends with them. And that takes time. And making friends with the villagers was never really a priority for me.
Right.
But I finished it in the sense that, like, I have finished the community center before and, like, unlocked a bunch of stuff. In other places and, like, been to all the things and seen the stuff, but I haven't, like, 100% and perfected it, and I've, like, married people before in it a couple times, but I've never, like, maxed out my friendship level with all of the villagers, because that unlocks a lot of different game mechanics.
Interesting.
Because when you're friends with villagers, they send you recipes and stuff, but also cool cutscenes happen, and you get to learn like the story behind all these people, and it's pretty cool.
Interesting.
So I'm focusing on that more this time around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I was trying to do the community center in a year, but I don't think I'm going to make it, because I'm not going to have the red cabbage, and I'm probably not going to have truffles by the time winter's over.
All of this makes perfect sense to me. I totally get it.
Anyone who plays Stardew, you're going to be like,
damn that red cabbage.
Yeah, that like pesky red cabbage. Thanks for sticking around, guys, on our Chit Chat episode, and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you for listening. If you have as much fun with these episodes as we have making them, consider following us on Instagram and Twitter at Evening with an Artist.
Get up-to-date news on future events, episodes, and more.
You can also check out our website, eveningwithanartist.com, for a look at previous recordings, interviewees, news, and upcoming shows.
We would love to hear from you, so send us a DM on Instagram or email us at jordynandrich@eveningwithanartist.com.
Don't forget to join our community on Discord and see where it all started.
Here, you can chat with other members and submit your interview questions.
Did you enjoy the music? All the tunes on our podcast were created by our music man, Dougal Dawson. To learn more about Dougal and listen to an uncut version of the Iwa tunes, you can find him on our website.
If you'd like to support the show, visit the donation page on our website, linked throughout all our social media, to help fund equipment, production, and guest speakers.
Until next time,
I've been Rich.
I've been Jordyn.
And this has been Evening with an Artist.